Hey Kaijus! So I've mentioned before on this channel that I have wanted to get back into doing some kaiju movie reviews and how I wanted to rewatch all of the Godzilla films and review them. It's been something I've wanted to do, but it's been put on the back burner. You know, last year was really super chaotic. We had the wedding, we had just a lot of things going on. And now that I'm, forced to being at home due to the quarantine and the whole coronavirus thing, what better time than the now? So I am going to get started on this project that I have been pushing off for way too long. This project, though, still might take some time. There's over 36 movies, there's some cartoons. The Godzilla franchise has spanned a lot since 1954. And so there is a lot of material to get through. Some of the DVDs are a little bit more accessible. I own a few of them. I own a handful on DVD and also digital download. Toho hasn't been really really that great about digital. There are some stuff that's on digital, because I do digital download now. But I do have my eye on the Criterion collection. I might ask Chris for that for my birthday. My birthday's coming up in June, so I might just, I don't know. It depends on how fast I want to get through all 36 Godzilla films. I might buy it before, my birthday. But we'll see. My hope is to do it in chronological order, though I do know the King Kong version, the King Kong vs. Godzilla, is not readily available unless you get the Criterion collection, so that might be out of order. Because I just don't have it. I also might toss in, I will toss in Rodan. And also, I've already done Mothra. I'll link, I forgot what corner it'll appear in. I'll link my Mothra review in whatever corner. I did the review already with the Steel book. I have to double check what Mothra, I'm pretty sure it was the original Mothra. So yeah, I will be doing the Japanese versions. So unless there's maybe I'll go back and do the American version. Some of the films have American versions, some of them don't. I've watched, for the original Godzilla, I have watched the American version. I watched it a long time ago, a few times, sporadically. But it's not one, I prefer the real Japanese version. I can't really tell you when the first time I've actually seen the original Godzilla film. I do know it probably wasn't when I was a kid. Just because of the film, I don't really know when I watched the original 1954 Godzilla. I can't tell you. Most Americans, or most people, I'm not sure if just exclusive to Americans, they really have the idea of the really goofy Godzilla, the really bad dubbing of, Tokyo natives running across, across the city, with the audio not matching, their lips and stuff like that. And, the goofy monster fights and stuff like that. But, that's not what the original Godzilla is. If more people have watched the original Godzilla, the whole tone is completely different. This movie is definitely the movie is definitely a reminder of the nuclear bombings of Japan. And so that, if you take that tone, it's not a lighthearted movie. It's really a very dark movie. And I'm not just saying aesthetically, basically the plot is, the movie starts with a bunch of sailors. They're probably have some free time. They're on the deck. They're playing music. It seems like they're just taking advantage of the afternoon sun. And then it's a bright flash of light, and they hear something in the distance. And the next scene you see is just the ship sinking. And so you don't actually see Godzilla, and then the next ship, and then so it just builds a tension. I have to say, Honda, his usage of the tension in the film is so good. You know that there's something lurking. Of course, if you see what you're watching, but the tension buildup is so well done, and you don't really know what really truly is going on. You see a hurricane attack an island, and then the villagers go to mainland Japan and tell them about what's happening. It's some old guy in the village is oh, it's Godzilla, we used to sacrifice girls to him back in the day, and then apparently the bombings they're still bombing the islands, and so that's what I guess triggers Godzilla's latest like murder spree across Japan. And eventually the government sends a scientist. He's like a paleontologist. I'm going to probably butcher his name. Yamani. And then that's when you get your first good glimpse of Godzilla. Like, he's over the island again. He likes this island, probably looking for his, sacrifices. But, Yamani wants to save Godzilla because he's like probably one of, he's a paleontologist. Paleontologists, like, they want to save what they want to study. But Godzilla's reign of terror is causing Japan a little bit too much headache. And so everybody else wants to kill him because he is causing such mass destruction across the land. So Yamani has a daughter named Amiko. And Miko is like the stereotypical damsel in distress, and so you're like girl power. She's not girl power. She is kind of smart. You can tell she's a little smart, but she definitely has her moments of, and she's betrothed to a gentleman called Shirazawa. And that name should sound familiar, especially if you've seen the newer Godzilla movies. They actually named Dr. Shirazawa in the new movies after this Shirazawa from 1954. Also, Dr. Shirazawa's first name is Ishiro, who is the director of Godzilla of 1954 and some other films. So that was a nice nod for the new Godzilla films to kind of have a little nice tie-in with the original. But back to the 1954. So Shirazawa is kind of like, when you see him, he's very mad scientist looking. He has very sharp features of his face. He has an eye patch. And like instinctively you think that he's going to be a bad guy. Like he's like an extra bad guy besides Godzilla. But it actually turns out, he actually isn't. He's a wartime hero. Like, I'm not sure if wartime hero, but the reason why he has an eye patch is he sustained an injury during World War II. And he's betrothed to Amiko, but, oh shoot, what's his name? Ogata, sorry. Ogata and Amiko want to actually get married, and Ogata is like a sea captain, I believe. And, and so she wants to break up her betrothal with Shirazawa, because she's always just saw him as an older brother, not really as a love interest. But really that kind of subplot actually it's not too predominant. Like they kind of talk about it, but it doesn't like engulf the film. Like really the heart of the film is about trying to kill Godzilla at this point. And so Shirazawa is mad scientist kind of, and he creates this thing called the Oxygen Destroyer. And he doesn't want it to be used because he feels like it could be another nuclear bomb. It could be another weapon for a government, to take and, massacre millions of people. And he doesn't want that. So he's very reluctant to let anybody know. He lets Amiko know, and after Godzilla rampages and destroys Tokyo, which I'll get back to in a second, Amiko really wants him to use the weapon. And Shirazawa, he's super conflicted about it because he sees the destruction, but he also feels that his weapon will cause just as amount of destruction in the wrong hands. And I feel like he is probably one of the more developed characters in this movie. Like you kind of get a sense of like every other character, but they don't really have as much depth. But Shirazawa does seem a little bit more depth of all the characters in this movie. So Godzilla destroying Tokyo, I think it's probably one of the most like hauntingly beautiful scenes in the movie. I have to say one of my favorite scenes in the movie is just like Godzilla just raining fire on the whole city, and you just see him just stomping away. And you see the despair, and it's like some people want to fight, some people just kind of want to accept death, and it's that contrast in life. Some people rise to the occasion, some people just admit defeat, and And it's, you know, it is what it is. And I mean, it's definitely a very, very dark movie in that sense. It's definitely not a Godzilla of later years. You know, this movie does have a little bit of, like, it lulls in certain spots where it, like, you know, like, even like me and my husband are like, you know, looked at our phones for a few seconds while we were rewatching it. But I mean, for me, I love this film, so like my attention away from the film is very minimal. He, I think, got bored with it and was just texting his friends. But he's not as hardcore of a Godzilla fan as I am. But, you know, I have to say, I love this film. I mean, the music. Akira Ifukube, I hope I pronounced that right. He creates some of the best music. I have to say, I don't know if it's because I think it's one of the best soundtracks of movies. Like, I mean, this, for me, it ranks pretty high. Like, I don't know, I've never ranked my favorite music soundtracks, but I have to say, like, Star Wars, you know, Godzilla, Harry Potter, and like Lord of the Rings, and also Sherlock Holmes. I think those are probably like my top 5 musical soundtracks of all times, you know, to make it really short. But I mean, his just, like, you know, I guess Godzilla, the main theme, I mean, is just amazing. I love that song. I can listen to that song all the time. And, you know, and then I forgot what they call it, like, kind of like when the military, like, is I can't do it. I'm horrible musician, and I'm tone deaf. But, like, you know, it's like, yay, the military is going to do something awesome, even though against Godzilla it's usually not that awesome. But the music, like, makes you a little pumped up, because it makes you feel like something's going to get done. Like, this is it, you know. And then, of course, just, like, the tension in the music, like, you know, like when he's about to go, like, rain destruction on Tokyo, the music just kind of builds and builds and builds, and you're just like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. And it's just incredible. I absolutely love the music in this film. And yeah, that it gets an A+++. So kaiju design. So I think if they had went with the original design of an octopus or a kraken, I don't think I would be sitting here about to watch 36 movies over the next few months. I think they did a right decision of making him look like a dinosaur. I've always loved the look of Godzilla. I have to say, the original Godzilla, 1954 Godzilla, is probably not the most sexiest Godzilla. I don't know, you know, I guess rewatching all the movies I can figure out what my ranking of my top 10 favorite designs are. But yeah, so it's incredible. I love it, you know, and I have to give the suit actors, you know, 100 million props to them for wearing those suits, and just hearing the stories about how what they had to do to, you know, bring Godzilla to life is amazing. So yeah, so the design, awesome. I mean, you know, they took kind of like, in essence, a T-Rex with like scales. I mean, his scales are just awesome. You know, he is like the blueprint. I mean, of course, like all the other Godzillas emulate him, of course. You know, they've tried to like make subtle tweaks of the design over the years. Some designs I like a little bit more than 1954. Some designs I don't like as much. But I don't know. The original man, he got it. So I'm going to be completely biased, and you can disagree with me, you can tell me this is shit, whatever, I don't care. This is my review, you can do your own review. I give it 5 kaiju bites out of 5. I just love this film. You know, is it the best movie ever? There are probably films that I'm a little bit more like enraptured by, you know, a little bit more high tense. I mean, not high tense, but like high pumping action. But I truly love this film. I do watch the original every so often. I don't put it in like every month, but I do try to watch at least once or twice a year. And so yeah, so it's probably the one Godzilla film I try to watch every so often. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of this review. What do you think about the original Godzilla? If there's any other kaiju or monster movies that you want me to do review of, I'm probably gonna do mostly Godzilla films, but I am gonna mix in some, because shit, I went on Wiki and just pretty much copied and pasted and printed it out of all the Godzilla films, but I also have some other monster related movies that I want to go through, including like It Came From Beneath the Sea, and also The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms. There's also another one. There's a few other, Gamera. I want to do Gamera. I haven't watched Gamera since I was a kid, so I kind of want to go through Gamera, but I don't know. It's whatever. I got some time. I'm not really looking forward to watching Godzilla 2. I have to admit, I've watched it before and I really don't like it. So that's when I'm like, I just need to get it over with, watch it, get it done. So tell me what you think about Godzilla 1954. What are your feelings on it? If you're new here, like and subscribe. If you are coming back, thank you for joining me again. I'll probably do like kaiju reviews mixed with food reviews as much as we can, stuck in the house. So I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and see you guys later. Bye.